are the biggest pressures that you feel like parents are facing today, perhaps like uniquely so to other generations, or you know, other generations of parents before?
Financial pressures, definitely. Unfortunately, we're put in a position when we become parents that, like I mentioned before, is presence, not presence. You want your child and baby to have the best of everything, but the reality says when you spend thousands of pounds or hundreds of pounds on outfits, the likelihood is they're going to outgrow them anyway. And so these baby muslins at Ralph Lauren or Cath Kidston or something else, you know, your child needs love. They need love, attention, affection. As dads, skin on skin, that's the important to build that bond. It might not build straight away, but as time goes on, the more that we're there, the more that bond will build. It might happen straight away, might take a bit of time. But I think currently with the life that we live in with social media and stuff, tends to put us under a lot of pressure. You need that really expensive pushchair. You need that baby carrier. And I think parents put themselves under way too much pressure to fit in, and I think personally financial is probably the highest that I would see from my experience, and myself as a dad, knowing that I was in that bracket when my daughter was born, putting myself under extreme pressure that she had an eye candy pushchair, which was like the holy grail of pushchairs at that time. So it had to be John Lewis, we had to go into Bristol, we had to do, and I look back now and think, why? You know, and you tend to find that people who have more than one child will say, oh yeah, I was a bit more relaxed the second, third, fourth time, because like you realise that the importance is being present as a mum and a dad, not as the money that you throw at them. So presence, not presence, is something that I talk about quite a lot.
I love that. Can we borrow that catchphrase?
You can have it. You can have it.
You know,
I
it's
love
great.
that as
Thank
well,
you.
very much so.
And you as well, Wendy.
So I think one of the biggest pressures that we find as a parent is to keep our children safe in this dysregulated world. I mean, just look what's going on in the world. You know, and we're expected, when we're also dysregulated within our own bodies, you know, we don't really know who we are. And I think, you know, if you look at social media, you know, there's quite often that we're doom scrolling ourselves at midnight to try and soothe ourselves. Also, if you actually look at it as well, you know, we're AI's coming along, and we hardly understand that ourselves, but yet our children have access. So I think there's a real pressure on us as parents. And I think one of the biggest things is that we're really disconnected from ourselves. And I think that's one of the opportunities, is to get back to being present with who you are, so that you can come from those kind of wisdom and core values, as opposed to what the external is always looking at you. And then you can, I think it's really hard.
Social media plays a huge part in it.
That literally
Massive.
leads me on to the next question.
Massive.
Yeah, could you guys talk, you mentioned AI as well. Could you guys talk a little bit more about social media? Obviously, again, I'm sure this is on a lot of people's minds, ever changing. You know, what's the scene like for parents in terms of social media, and kind of how to navigate that, both for themselves, like you said, putting expectations on parents, but also for their children?
I think it's really hard, if you don't mind.
I
think it's really hard, because when you know that the algorithm, as soon as you start looking at something, it just keeps showing it. So like my daughter was suicidal, so of course, and she was self-harming, so of course she was looking that up. And then it just keeps like reinforcing it and almost giving her a community. And as a parent, you don't really know what they're looking at all the time. No. It's really hard, and nobody's teaching us how to do that, actually. So that's part of the work I'm doing, is really helping parents to really know what to do by introducing them to tech companies and what have you, to get real education behind it. Because I think it's a minefield out there.
I think it's best to try to do something and understand it than not, because it's quite easy to turn a blind eye and think, well, I don't understand, so I'm just going to be ignorant to it and not bother. So if you're feeling like, oh, I could do more and I want to do more, that's a start. That's a step in the right direction, because you're trying to administer that help. But unfortunately, with Facebook, Instagram, I don't use it, but TikTok and various other things, we tend to see, oh God, they're going on holiday again, or they've got this expensive car, they've just moved into a new house. We don't know how much they're riddled in debt, and how much pressure they're under to be making credit card payments to live that lifestyle. And I think social media has put that in place. Social media is brilliant for various things, but it also is something that it's a bit of a yardstick and a bit of a peeing contest, so to speak, as, oh, well, if they're doing it, I've got to do it. But if you give your child love, attention, safety, you know, you're never going to be far off. And that doesn't have to look because they've got a brand new pair of trainers. And it's, you know, of course, we want to see our children have the best that they can have. We do. But we can only do so much. And if we're working, and I've worked a lot over the years with guys that work, not just guys, but women as well, who are parents, who work in self-employment. They don't work, they don't get paid. So they've got to work those unsociable hours, and all they want to do, dad might be a carpenter or electrician or whatever, he might want to just come home and put his child to bed, but unfortunately he's got to work to provide for not just his partner, you know, because I do work with dads who are stay-at-home dads as well, and mum is in a far more high-powered job than dad, and it makes financial sense for mum to be in work than it is. So I think it's about teamwork, and it is about just understanding that you do your best for you. Don't worry about anyone else. I know that's an easy thing to say, but it's something that you learn over time to provide the best for your child, is being present.
But I think being present is a really important thing. I think it's opening up those conversations with your youngsters and with your nieces or nephews, you know, and making a safe space. I mean, we talked about it earlier, how do you connect with boys? And I have a son as well. And for some reason, it must have been something I used to do, which I didn't quite appreciate I did. But I always, because there's two of them, so I used to always ask if I could go to my bedroom with them, one of them, and close the door, because that must have been a private space, so they could have a conversation with me. And I've had some tremendous conversations in that bedroom with my son. And I think it's making that kind of almost like making a thing, you know, that they know they can come and have a conversation with you. And if you watch that program that's been on the telly, that one with Louis Theroux, it's like actually sitting down and having a conversation with them, and to get their views and opinions and hear them and listen. Because a lot of the time we don't listen to our children.
Talking's a two-way process, guys. We talk and we listen.
Yeah.
We're always, like Wendy was saying, she's a fixer, and that's what she was doing with her daughter, hence why she's here. She wants to fix the problem. Sometimes when you speak to men who are having problems, not necessarily problems, but wife or girlfriend has expressed that there's a problem, they might not want that to be fixed. They might just want to be listened to. And I'm not saying I'm a relationship guru. I'm not, far from it. But I think sometimes I'm very much like, oh, well, how can I fix that? Sometimes people don't want it to be fixed. They just want to feel validated and offload that problem.
Yeah,
so
I had to learn that with my daughter. I had to learn not to invalidate feelings. I didn't even know what that was, by the way, either. And through her recovery, I had got an amazing therapist. I mean, she was like taking no prisoners, let me tell you. And she used to coach me, though, even though she was a therapist. She used to give me scripts on how to talk to my daughter, because I didn't really know how to do that. So she was reteaching me, and she taught me about what invalidating feelings meant. So of course, I was invalidating my daughter's feelings because I was always trying a solution for her. So I wasn't letting her regulate her own feelings. But now I still invalidate them because I am still a human. However, I know when I've done it, and I'll go upstairs and I'll go, I think I've just invalidated your feelings. And she goes, yes, you have. And I went, I'm really sorry, I'm pretty beat at this. I'm still learning. She goes, it's okay, Mama.
We're all learning, aren't we?
And I think being that vulnerable with your children is so beautiful.
None of us are experts.
No.
We can't get things right all the time.
But
We're
I think that's important to show them that.
Yeah.